to another episode of Gallia Kills Everything. Gallia's taking a break tonight, so we can let Sister Galvana do a little bit of dirty work, and she is over here in Death Metal D.C. putting in the reps. Now, this is kind of an unusual one for my channel because, to be frank, I'm still kind of working on a good formula for a good, reliable battle healer, and this was kind of a high mark because Barbatos is not exactly entry level. He is definitely kind of a player in the bounty community. This is less of a test of reflexes than it is endurance, is the other part of that conversation. Barbatos is hard because he is incredibly durable, and he has lots and lots of threats. If you do all of the recommended mechanics to get all of the feats in this fight, you're going to be here for a while. So we're going to unpack things kind of in the order of occurrence and go from there. So let's begin. As you can see right away, Barbatos flies. If you fly too, you can actually kind of take advantage of some of the zoning options that are nice for flyers. The rest of y'all don't get to enjoy 3D combat quite as much as we do, but this is one of the bosses where you can definitely make that work for you. Unfortunately, all of his friends also fly, so it's not like you're saving yourself any of the ground-based buff by doing that. You're just setting the field a little higher. There are a couple of things you can use to kind of get out of the way, drop yourself down, stuff like that, get beyond ranges and things like that momentarily. It also means that you can't hit him back. That's the problem with that. But it's still kind of refreshing to see they're doing like a flying bounty this late in the game's life. It was a lot of fun from that standpoint, because I remember a lot of the earlier bounties when flying was definitely a mechanical portion of how the bounty was actually fought. So kudos to the dev team for that. Now, this is currently in the aftertime, so this is already early end game. I'm sure the real Barbatos during the current era of relevancy would be much more difficult than this, but this should be well within the character's capacity as long as you stick to the program and don't get too far off base. Now, there's two different options for this fight. You can follow the mechanics to adherence, which can be a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie, because the primary mechanic in this fight is to undo the chains on everything that's attacking you, and that requires that you go over to a box, you get the box weapon, you use the box weapon to knock the chains out, and then you knock out whatever it is that you're fighting. Now, there are multiple feats for this, so at some point in time you might want to do it. As you can see, I'm doing it in this fight. I'm doing it in this fight because I am a healer, and I will die if I get to a point where they are ganging up on me without something being done here. So if you're not using heavy mitigation, this might be how you have to take the fight. Now, Barbatos himself, in addition to flying, his fighting style isn't really clearly defined. It's kind of a mishmash of different things. It has some brawling elements, you know, a lot of beam attacks and things like that. So I'm not going to recommend the counter game for or against. I don't know if it would work on him. I do know that the other three primary offenders down here, in addition to the nightmare bats, which they keep showing up, they never go away. You can focus on them or not, entirely up to you. If there's too many of them on the field, grab yourself a sword from one of the amps, grab yourself an axe from one of the amps. Got to make sure we're not mixing metaphors when it comes down to the shredding instrument of choice from Death Metal Batman. And yeah, chop some ass up. It's cathartic. It's good for you. It's good for the soul. It's good for them. But it mostly gets things off the battlefield, and once you do chew your way through the big three here, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, they do start fighting with you instead of against you, which is kind of nice. You know, it gets them off the field, kind of, they have a change of heart, and then, hey, there you go. So, some bonuses, again, whether or not you choose to stick with it the entire fight is up to you. I'm doing it here just to see what it does, but also because this is the first time I really had my electric healer girl out doing something major. Like, this is her first big girl bounty, folks. Fucking, like, you know, like, I'm excited. I'm like, hey, I want to see what she can do. So we're watching what she can do. But, yeah, that's the major else like that, but there's just so much that you do need top-notch mitigation, or you do need to pay attention to the individuals, get them off the field, or both, you know, because you're going to die if you don't. There's no way to kill these guys unless you deal with their mechanic, and your only other option at that point in time is just to make sure your mitigation is as high as it can be, and then blast Barbatos as quickly as you can. And that's a valid option. I've got a couple of different instances with some of my battle tanks where that's exactly what I do with them. I just focus on him. I don't fuck with any of the ads or anything else. It does work, but this is definitely more how the fight is supposed to be run. You're supposed to come in here, you're supposed to hit him, you're supposed to hit his guys, you're supposed to get them taken care of, so after you get them taken care of, you can, you know, go about your business of getting the bounty finished and not be continuously being beaten to death by Death Metal Superman or Wonder Woman. I think that's really just kind of right itself, you know, like, what do you think of that? It's like, oh, I asked myself today when I woke up, what did I want to do with my life? And, you know, I was thinking, I had a couple of different ideas, man. Yeah, what's that, bro? Yeah, I thought I would go fight, I would go fight a Kryptonian in the park. Yeah, I don't know, man. They're not usually doing that. Yeah, but there's a guy, you know, who, he's a demonically possessed bat thing. He's down there at the Capitol now, and he said he can make it happen for you. I'm not really sure that's a good idea. You know, like, that's a bad idea. Yeah, I know, but, you know, here we are. That's exactly how that conversation plays out in your head. So, if you can get rid of them, get rid of them. And I only did that because this is a 12-minute long video, and sometimes you got to keep yourself entertained. Plus, my cat's trying to eat my headphones right now. Buddy, Daddy does need those. Thank you. Yes, there you go. Congratulations. But yeah, so Death Metal Barbatos does have a couple of feats associated with it. The standard reward schedule applies. You get 8 marks and a bright shiny box with bright shiny equipment in it after you beat him. In addition to that, counter feeds. In addition to that, there are feeds for beating all of the individual bosses down here, and there are also counter feeds for beating his nightmare bats. So when I said feeds on top of feeds on top of feeds on top of feeds, I meant feeds on top of feeds on top of feeds on top of feeds. Now, this bounty is probably the hardest one to beat in the area, and I say that with just the awareness that this is it's a slog. It's not yet, like I said, you know, you can see my girl's not dead yet. She's fighting, but she's been fighting for a minute now. She's been chipping away at this guy. She's been chipping away at his friends. It's a slog, you know. This is the most endurance-intensive fight, you know. You don't think you have a character build that can go the distance. You know, this is not a good fight. Conversely, if you're trying to test something just to see, hey, you know, is my power sustainable? Is my mitigation going to be good enough? You know, can I get myself into a jam and back out of a jam? This is actually a pretty good fight for that. Like, this is a great fight for testing if you're specifically testing for AoE performance or just general survivability. Mostly because, like I said, no true one-shots, but tons of opportunity to die. And if you don't stay on it and continue grinding it constantly, you can't get out of it. That's the biggest part of the conversation. So, but yeah, definitely the daddy of the Death Metal D.C. bounties. The other bounties aren't really... There's a series of them, the Death Knights. They're kind of their own individual problems, and most of them take, at best, you know, a third, and at worst, half the time it takes to beat Barbatos, so that's not an issue there. And the Shadow Metal Bat Golem, if you beat the Shadow Golem in Chaos Gotham, you can beat the Bat Metal Golem, hands down. I did it first time I came here. No death. Soloed it right off the bat. Mostly because the two fights, there are almost almost no mechanical differences, and the mechanical differences are actually in favor of the original Shadow Golem. The Bat Golem is easier than it is to beat, especially with the CR and the general damage output you're going to have inside this area. So, things to look forward to. But yeah, as you can see, we're still chipping away at him. He is durable. I think that's the biggest thing to say about him. Once you get his minions kind of chipped down to the degree where there's not too many of them attacking you at the same time, that's, I think, really what you want to aim for, is just make sure that there's not like 6 of them on the screen wailing at you at the same time. At that point in time, drop the mechanic, focus on Barbatos, and you should be okay after that. Again, durability, durability, durability. This is not the longest fight in the game, but it's pretty hardcore. I mean, you know, I'm not sure how long it would take me right now if I sent one of my battle tanks in there, but I'm gonna hazard a guess that I'm still not getting out for 10 minutes. So make of that what you will. But yeah, Barbatos. He is the Bat God, who sounds like he's from Jamaica and is probably actually not. I don't know. I actually haven't read the Death Metal series of comics that he's from. It's on my to-do list. I just haven't had the time to get in there and get her done yet, because I've been doing wonderful adult things like adult stuff that adults do. You know the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But yeah. I am running on steam here, folks. My videos usually aren't like 15 minutes long, or if they are, I cut to the spot and just like let them go. But yeah, so we've got a few minutes, or a few seconds of wind up here. I'm just gonna go ahead and boop. That's the end of our story. That's Barbatos. That's Barbatos with a battle healer. Electric is a great power set. We'll come back into contact with that conversation some other time. But thank you for sitting in on the ride. Enjoy your stay. Have a good day. Like, subscribe, and be on your way. Thank you from Gallia Kills Everything.